words just sound cool together. It comes from my grand wizard master. I don't know, man. Stuff just comes out and it's entertaining and it's fun.
Sheenbeard Saga, part number 4. If you missed the previous videos, those links down in the description. Also included in the description is a link to my wife's channel. It's totally her birthday. Please go over there, leave comments, let her know just how loved she is, because she 100% deserves it. Thank you so much, guys. A star is born. Yes. So hello, readers and listeners, and welcome back to the Cringe Patch. It is harvest season, and we have a great variety of goods available. Might I interest you in a basket of creeps? Perhaps a bouquet of Kevins? Or a nice sack of involuntary celibates? Oh, I know what you're looking for. The fresh beard hybrid. Yeah, Sheenbeard had managed to fornicate. I won't keep you in unnecessary suspense on that. Whiff safely carried the term and gave birth to a small but healthy baby girl. This expands our usual cast list by at least one. For better or for worse, I guess. Let's do the cast list. Sheenbeard, a fresh father to a brand new life. If some of you had hoped that sowing his seeds might change him and finally root him in reality, allow me to weed out such hopes from your hearts. God, I love these gardening analogies. This is top tier writing right here. From this part onward, Sheen Airlines is taking off for good, never to touch solid ground again. If he crashes into a mountainside, is that considered solid ground? Can we hope for that? Whiff is a former lady of the night, kinda sorta engaged to Sheen, and also his reluctant baby mama. Up to this point, she has been made completely financially and emotionally dependent on Sheen, and thusly has been unable to leave his sphere of influence. I'm probably not going to continue giving her the Neckbeard voice, because I just feel bad for her, honestly. Peach is the little baby girl, daughter of Sheen and Whiff, a child who really would have deserved much better beginnings into this world, just a sweet and bright-eyed little baby. I mean, it is unfortunate, but the kids are gonna be alright. At least that's what we tell ourselves. There's also Mora, our OP, trying to be a gentle voice of reason to the inhabitants of Sheen's nest, whilst being barely qualified to look after herself. What a tangled web we weave, but we shall delay no longer. The crop awaits. It's harvest time. Our story continues a few months after little Peach was born. I was once again having a video call with Whiff, and while Peach was lunching, we discussed their situation for about the 11th time. In a nutshell, Whiff had reached a point where the constant onslaught of Hollywood fantasies that our slimy fungus puffballed around was becoming suffocating. The spores that had once been able to find a semblance of accepting soil within her could now only land in vast pools of growing disdain. God, it's disgusting, but it's so poetic. This is what I live for. She was ready to renounce him as her, at least as Sheen proclaimed, husband, and flee the Neckbeard nest for good. With praise given towards her newfound strength, I wished her the best of luck, and promised to be around the next time she should require emotional support. We exchanged brief waves and hung up. This would be the last video call that Whiff and I ever had. Dude, that's really ominous, can you not? I just hope she's better off after all that. She actually got up and out, right? Somebody say right. Over the following few turns of the moon, Whiff did start to move her things back into her parents' house. Bless up! Hallelujah! For a while, she lived with one foot in her childhood home and the other in the beard nest. The reasoning she gave to Sheen was that she was just very lonely when he was trucking around. As much as I'd like to believe that Whiff had enough of a spine to try and leave Sheen purely for his insanity, I do believe that she ultimately left him because of the lack of attention she got when he was on the road. I mean, it's not the ideal reason, but at least she's up and out, right? Eventually, she did break it off with Sheen officially, and the fertilizer storm that act raised could be smelled all the way in my hometown. That's fine. Throw your little baby man fit. Just know it's over, right? Whiff's not coming back, right? Somebody say right. Sheen, faithful to his habits, ran to me with his stories. I mostly just let him rant as I studied and gave him a few figurative pats on the back every now and again. However, when he started on the whole song and dance of, I can't believe my wife would do this to me and our child, I was swift to remind him that Whiff, in fact, was not his wife, and on the contrary, had expressed quite clearly that marriage was not on her list of desires. Sheen would then brush me off and go on to whoa over something else. Party demon, whoa. I was glad Whiff had gotten herself and Peach out of that nest. I mean, sure, she wasn't the picture of a perfect person herself, but I had faith in her that Peach could motivate her to turn her life around. You know, I got high hopes for that too. It happened with my mom, it happened with me. Life is all just a big joke, a big party until you have another little human to care for. Then you gotta get it figured out. Fast, quick, in a hurry. Sheen, of course, chased after Whiff relentlessly. He would try all of his old tricks, buying gifts, love bombing, a million promises, begging, of course, and displaying how sad and pathetic he would be without her. Bro, what? This is not gonna work at all. Look how pathetic I am. Please come back. He's stupid. I don't doubt that Whiff accepted all the gifts quite readily, but she would still not move back in with him. I don't know if Sheen went as far as procuring her a precious PlayStation, but if he did, not even that mighty offering would win back the favor of his maternity goddess. Maternity god. Oh, it's in quotes. He probably said it. I want to die. I made sure to check in on Whiff every once in a while, but mostly just left her to settle into her new life. Besides, while I was in full agreement on that Sheenbeard was a horrible partner and should be left to learn a lesson or 10,000 about reality, I did not applaud Whiff's decision to milk him for all he was worth in the process. I mean, old habits die hard, I guess. She's back to playing the game, and I gotta tip my hat, not a fedora, to her finesse. OP says, I never shared this approach of hers with Sheen as to not betray her trust, but I did start to encourage him to understand that it was truly over between them and to get his chicken crap together. I don't think anyone should be used like that. Not even the crappiest neckbeard. I mean, I do tend to agree, accepting some of like the worst beards on the channel, but at that point they've lost their humanity, you know? It's not about trying to finesse them for money at that point. It's all about getting them up against the wall. So you might disagree with me on this, because you are observing these events through my hindsight is 20/20/23 super lenses. But keep in mind that at the time, rather than an evil manipulator, I saw in Sheen a delusional guy who really, really, really needed some help. As a matter of fact, I do agree with you on that, OP. The part where I disagree is the fact that you have to be there to fix him. No. We need a qualified and licensed therapist to take care of this dude. Anything else, it's really only gonna get worse. So, instead of getting help and becoming a good co-parent, Sheen joined the insanity circus and became a full-time clown. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Yeah, big step up from the part-time work. Now you get circus benefits, like free peanuts. After Sheen realized that he wasn't getting Whiff back, then the custody battle began. Oh my god, dude. Does he really even want the kid? Or is he doing this just to hurt Whiff? Sheen resorted to the same strategy he had used on Rose and her friends. He tried to hunt down any evidence about Whiff being a bad mother and interviewed me on several occasions. I elected to try and keep away from this whole situation, but I still think it impacted Whiff's trust in their common friends, and as a result, we barely spoke to each other. There was no dramatic falling out, just a withering connection that was cut off from any type of nourishment. Whiff had started seeking out new sugar suppliers for herself, and keeping them happy was a time-consuming job. This lifestyle and the varying quality in her string of boyfriends was pretty hard to follow, and I had no neutral advice left to give. I didn't want to criticize her, and instead elected to fade away along with the days of her past. That's a good thing. It's not up to you to fix her either. OP continues saying, "Listen, just like it's been established on ReddX's channel time and time again, it's better to have no D&D than bad D&D. I think I stole that from Crit Crab. Credit where credit is due. This definitely also applies to men, without question. Of course, there are some people out there who disagree with that sentiment. You need to have standards and not be afraid of being alone for some amount of time. Learning to know yourself, it truly is a wonderful journey, and it will help you to choose your future partners with a far greater wisdom. I cannot recommend this enough." I agree 100%. I would also say it applies to women as well, alright? Everybody should be on this journey for self-discovery. But with that brief aside, we will get back to the beardery. So, Sheen was battling for full custody after he realized that Whiff really was not coming back to him. What a petty man, you might think. I do think. If only that was really so. Sheen didn't try to get sole custody just out of sheer spitefulness, although spite definitely played into it. Oh no, he needed sole custody of Peach because Whiff wasn't on board with his dreams. Sheen wanted to make Peach a child model. Yeah, he wanted to live his Hollywood fantasy through his daughter. Bro, this is so weird. I would go back to the spite thing. I think that's less weird. Peach, at under 2 years old, was getting stuffed into garments well unfit for her age, and Sheen was trying to force Whiff into allowing him to parade Peach around pageants and modeling agencies and wherever else he could come up with. At least in this, Whiff didn't drop the ball and stayed firm. 2 years old, bro, come on! Let the kid play with some Play-Doh or something, for God's sake! My skin is crawling, dude. I don't know if it's supposed to be as creepy as it is, but to me, this is really creepy. Anyways, Sheen started to build up his case. He'd tell me stories about Peach coming home from her mother's bruised and would claim that Whiff was hitting their daughter. I had never seen a single picture of any bruises, and trust me, Sheen loves taking pictures. So I think that he just made these tales up to try and get me to provide him with dirt on Whiff. I refused to be his truffle pig, however, and told him that rather than bugging me, he should be discussing these matters with his lawyer. Bro, this OP is just a complete G. You got the right answers for everything. And it's written beautifully. I kind of hope Sheenbeard just never ends. Well, here's where the circus tent gets erected inside a courtroom. For Sheen had decided that the best person to present him in this delicate matter of custody was... Hey, editor, Elijah, can we get some dramatic drum rolling here? Thank you, you do an awesome job. Yeah, he does. So here's the build-up again. Yes, that person was... of course, Sheen himself.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
I wish I could say that I'm shocked. But the Dunning-Kruger effect, it's really real. And now it's walking into court wearing a clip-on tie. So by the time the court date was a week away, Sheen fancied himself a full-fledged lawyer. In his mind, he was so very systematic and sophisticated in the collection and planned presentation of evidence that he started making plans to run his very own business. You have to pass the bar first. I don't know. He would represent all the innocent and downtrodden in court from now on. Yeah, Sheen Brockovich. Look at him go. He'd make the big bucks for sure. All I could really do was bite my tongue and try not to let my eyes roll right out of their sockets. He's such a mess, bro. It's good to have big dreams. I'm all about big dreams, but you need to at least have an outline of a plan for getting there. Dude changes his mind about his future career like every week. And I, of course, didn't get to attend court and observe, but I like picturing Sheen, shiny as ever, sweating in his wrinkly suit, explaining why he makes the perfect parent. You know, like that conspiracy theory guy meme, aliens. Sure, I mean, dude is trucking around the country for days at a time, but he could hire a babysitter to watch Peach. With what money? Well, he'd soon be working in the court of law. And don't you know, Whiff was but a step down from Satan herself, and her parents were even worse. I could picture Sheen prancing around the floor, completely unchecked by any sort of legal advisor, making exaggerated, grand gestures and bold statements. I mean, seriously, dude, I like Phoenix Wright too, but it doesn't make me a legal expert. Objection! Anybody can represent themselves in the court of law. Unsurprisingly, of course, Sheenbeard did not get full custody. Please tell me he didn't even get partial custody. I'm not really over the moon for either of these parents, but there is a clear right choice here. OP elaborates that as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Sheenbeard's custody time dropped a little bit. You'll love to see it. The next day, Sheen mumbled to me all kinds of nasty words about the judge and Whiff's lawyer and how he'd show them all what it meant to mess with him. He just needed some more evidence. Yeah, why not start fabricating evidence? Why not get yourself thrown in jail? Go the whole nine. It turns out that messing with Sheen means that he'll whine and moan for a few weeks and then crawl lazily back into his cave to drink beer and fart to entertain himself. And who makes the best beer farts except for refreshing Coors Light? Taste the cringe, not the calories. No legal business was ever started, of course. And all those poor single parents were left without a stellar legal representative. But think of the children, Sheen. Let us take a moment to mourn this Herculean loss. 0-0, just like that. It's so good. This is just ambrosia. A couple of months later, Sheen said he could no longer afford to keep living in the apartment that he and Whiff had cohabitated in before, and he started to essentially couch surf in all of his friends' houses. And at this point, never ever had I been so glad to live an ocean away. Honestly, I think Sheen managed to only keep partial custody of Peach through all of this because it was more convenient for Whiff to have Peach with Sheen from time to time. Like I said, neither of them are angels. I just hope that kid's okay, man. It was in this way that Whiff could give occasional extra attention to whichever sugar daddy she was entertaining that night. It's rough. It is at this point where I reluctantly made the decision to stay in touch with Sheen. Despite the constant headaches that he inflicted on me, someone had to try and look out for little Peach, at least a little bit. My relief at that aforementioned being an ocean away soon turned into frustration over how powerless I was to actually help Peach, through any means other than trying to beat some sense into her crazy fart father. I dare you say fart father as fast as you can 3 times in a row. Fart father, fart father, fart father. I think I messed it up. This truly is a labor not dissimilar to attempting to grow lily pads in the middle of a desert. Sooner or later, you'll just start to question your sanity as you watch for the 97th time how all of the water you poured onto those yellowing leaves filters through the sand and disappeared, as though no cool water had ever kissed those dusty grains to begin with. Oh, you're really painting a picture. I think that I will end this part here. The further we go, the more Sheenbeard's Kevin is starting to show, don't you think? Perhaps the hybrid you were looking for was Sheen, after all. Next time, you'll hear about things like Sheen's crazy priorities, his female type, and his short rapper career. Oh no, not that, anything but that. I'll be digging through some chat history as well to see what absolute nonsense I have buried out of reach of my memory. Wish me patience, everyone, because it will be needed. Stay well and be safe, and until the next time, Mother of Rain. I mean, I wasn't there for any of this. I'm judging it all through a Reddit post, but it feels to me like Sheen really was doing this to hurt Whiff. And then as a sideline, he's like, maybe I no longer have to work if I can get my daughter to be a world-famous model. This 2-year-old in a swimsuit. God, I hate it. I'm not going to say the kid doesn't stand a chance because, you know, kids are flexible. They totally can do amazing things, but with these two for parents, Peach is starting a few miles behind, man. You hate to see it. Honestly, I'm curious about Kevin's rapper career, so I think I'm going to roll into the next part. And let's get it wrapped up right now. Sheenbeard Saga, Part 5. Things Get Ugly. I mean, uglier. What kind of concoction do you think would occur if you toss 2 beards into a huge cauldron? I mean, we actually know here at ReddX Industries, but those files are sealed. A lot of people could go to jail over that one. I had been watching it bubble over the fire for years now, and I still don't know quite what to call it. Sludge? Runny mush? Liquefied depression? What I do know is that I find sharing this dish with all of you is very therapeutic. Perhaps we could get some cheesecake after. Oh, hell yeah, I want the blueberries. It'll never repair the hole that was left in my heart from this saga, but at least we can fill it up for a little while. And here's the ingredients. I have to read all these cast lists. They're hilarious and different each time. So, Sheen, I think the best food item to describe Sheen with is a rotting mushroom. Have you ever seen them? They shrivel up into dark brown or black, wet goop. We could call them a Sheen-take mushroom. Alternatively, we could go with a gross, pitty parsnip, but I think Sheen's shroom status has gotten too cemented in those previous parts. Whiff? Well, she's best likened to a bunch of grapes in this part, because everyone gets a bite. Peach is Little Peach, and she's just a peach. Cute and soft and sweet, really nothing to change here. Mora is a singular coffee bean. ROP just trying her best to be enough. Let me reassure you that you are 100% enough. And just be enough for yourself. You don't have to be enough for yourself and everybody else. 3 words. Scrape them off. Also, I should mention, if you watch this far, you're probably enjoying the content a little bit, right? Why not subscribe to ReddX if you haven't already? Thanks so much. Let's grab a ladle. We'll get stirring some of this delicious beard stew. So in the previous part, we visited a family court and saw how Sheen's application for full custody over Peach was unceremoniously rejected. Soon after this tragicomic circus number, Sheen ended up couch surfing for a few months as he attempted to gather more funds and evidence for another legal battle. He was very secretive regarding his whereabouts and used P.O. boxes to receive his mail. I wouldn't normally care about his address, but due to my annual habit of sending all my friends some small Christmas cards and treats, I ended up asking where I should ship his. Yes, even the beardy kids used to get something nice from Santa Rain. I already knew you're one of the good ones, OP, but that cements it. Sheen responded to my inquiry with a full-on tangent. I got an earful and then some on why I shouldn't share his location with Whiff. Finally, after having to raise my voice a little, I managed to cut him off and call out his lecture as highly unnecessary. I told him that I vehemently wished to stay out of any pettiness between him and Whiff, and I would share nothing that one of them said with the other. And you get one guess as to whether Sheen respected this humble boundary, or boarded his trusty bulldozer and started ramming against it. If I was a betting man, that is easy money right there. Naturally, he neglected my wishes and tried to pressure me into helping him gather evidence against Whiff Anything that would prove her an unfit mother. In one instance, Sheen pushed for confirmation on that bruise on Peach's knee. Was it intentionally inflicted onto her by Whiff's mother? He demanded that I send him any screenshots of my chat history with Whiff from the past week. I spelled out to Sheen that I would not supply him with any such material, and that, as a matter of fact, the whole bruise thing was never even mentioned to me. Sheen kept insisting and even lowered himself to accusing me of not caring for Peach's well-being. I'll be real with you, bro. Peach is the only reason we're friends right now. If Whiff is an unfit mother, then you're like a double plus super unfit father, okay? And OP does. OP finally snaps at this bulldozing blockhead. OP with a cold, venomous tone. Listen, Sheenbeard. I care for Peach's safety far more than I do for your or Whiff's hurt feelings. Peach is really all that matters here. However, I will not humiliate Whiff or break her trust to humor you with screenshots, especially when I know for a fact that there's nothing in those exchanges that would incriminate her or her mother of any wrongdoing. I will not be used by you to make Whiff feel betrayed and alone. So stop with the emotional manipulation attempts. It's not working. It's good. It's beautiful. You love to see it, honestly. Being a child of a very messy divorce myself, I felt very strongly for Peach in this situation. I was not about to let either Whiff or Sheen get accustomed to using other people as their proxies in hurting each other. I would not let that become their daughter's future. I deliver rage-laced preachings to Sheenbeard, however, as many times as it would take to drill some sense into his shroom cap. Sigh. Wish I were rich enough for a diamond-coated titanium drill head. It's never gonna work. He's denser than a dying star. But I really do admire you trying to stick up and help out the children of divorce. I think a lot of us have been through that. And very rarely is it enjoyable for anybody. Sheen just stewed in his disappointment at my unwillingness to cooperate, like an overcooked parsnip, but he had no more ammo left to fire at me. He skulked back to his lair and sulked for a few days. Blessed peace! Still, despite my efforts to stay neutral in the conflict between these bitter exes, Whiff and I fell out of touch around this time. Maybe Sheen had told her stories about me being against her, or perhaps I was just a reminder of those bad times of her life. Whatever the reason might have been, from here on out, the details regarding her actions were obtained through Sheenbeard. An unreliable narrator at best. Everything that he shared could be true, everything could be false, maybe some mix. We'll never really know. Just try to keep the source in mind. So what you're telling me right there is don't believe anything further that is said about Whiff. She and Peach are doing fine, and Sheenbeard's out here just trying to throw a monkey wrench into everything. That's my headcanon. Go! Eventually, Sheen managed to land himself a small apartment and kept working as a trucker. Speaking of trucking, at long last I listened to ReddX read the full Chris Trucker series. Oh my god, lucky you. The deepest cringe. And it got me thinking, what if Whiff used to be a lot lizard once upon a time? Picture it. Sicily, 1912. A white, shining truck pulls over at a dimly lit lot. Sheenbeard swings open the truck door, his greased basketball face reflecting the moonlight with brilliance. Just another brilliant Chris Trucker writing. This is the crossover that I lived for. He steps down from the truck and looks around. Their eyes meet. It's love at first sight, a moment of pure destiny. Sheen strides over to Milady and bows, requesting her name. She fans her blushing face and swoons right into Sheenbeard's pudgy arms. He sweeps her off her beardy legs and carries her to the truck. And they lived happily ever after. Right until the gaslighting, manipulation, and maltreatment got to be too much anyway. And this is now my headcanon, and I'm sticking to it. Mine too, honestly. I think even as far back as Pajama Beard, that was just a really young Chris Trucker. Before he was Chris Trucker, he was Chris Campervan. And he loved to stay in those California woods. That took place in California, didn't it? Bro, it's all coming together. I'm freaking out right now. Where was I? Oh yeah, right. Sheenbeard. He had found himself a permanent abode. Of course, being a trucker, he spent considerable time on the road. Did he kindly let Peach stay with her mother during those long hours? Does a giant toad feel any pang of guilt as it swallows a mouse whole? Of course not. Sheen went ahead and hired a babysitter. Oh, the drama that followed. She narrated me tale after tale about how Whiff went after each babysitter he hired, bad-mouthing them and even hunting down their children to create looming threats onto their wonderful mothers. I think Sheen ended up dating or sleeping with like maybe 3 of these babysitters. So he says. What he really means is he watched an adult video with that plot line. I refuse to believe Sheen is luring this many people in. Each one of these women was somehow depressed or otherwise mentally unstable, and the stories flowed like milk and honey in the promised land. Fortunately for me, perhaps unfortunately for you, I have forgotten almost all of those tales. I do, however, recall my reaction to lady number 2. OP says, "For goodness sake, Sheenbeard, you shouldn't keep betting every unstable woman that you cross paths with. Reel it in with the savior complex. And while we're at it, you cannot keep hiring them as your daughter's babysitters. Leaving a woman who you claim is downright water slidial, original word change, duh. Oh, you're talking about sliding down the sewer. Gotcha. Alone with your baby? What the hell were you thinking?" Sheen, I know. I'm weak. I can't help myself. Besides, I can save... OP, look, I don't want to hear it. Peach should be your first priority. Your only priority. Stop chasing skirts and rainbows and start being a responsible father. He needs to hear it. He won't listen, but he does need to hear it. Sheen, of course, didn't stop chasing either skirts or rainbows. Whiff expressed her dismay at the unstable individuals which were chosen time and time again. It's what you get for babysitter ads on Craigslist, isn't it? Sheen claimed that she even chased after one of them on the street one time. It's hard to picture Whiff running particularly effectively with her gear, but Sheen's story needed some extra drama, I suppose. No, the Boondocks taught us all about this one.
Can she run really fast in high heels?
It's ironic to me that OP doesn't believe the last part, because that's the only part that I do believe. Sheen's pettiness came to a head when he managed to pull off the ultimate getting back at your ex move. He slept with someone who Whiff hated. Said individual was Whiff's ex-friend, who backstabbed her in a manner that I can no longer recall, and they ended up on extremely bad terms. I mean, if you dislike both of them so much, why are you even keeping tabs on them at all? Just put your poker face on, be like, good, I'm glad for you. Have fun! Sheen came across this woman and claimed to me that once again, he was just so weak, and he couldn't stop himself from taking her home with him. Naturally, this lady ended up being the babysitter number 3, and this enraged Whiff enough for her to step in and try and get this woman away from her child. Oh, now it's all falling into place. Yeah, that's sort of an unavoidable circumstances. A person who hates me is looking after my DNA. This will not end well. Anyway, OP tells Sheen to take a serious look at his moral compass and asked himself if he felt that it was calibrated in a way that he could live with. Calibrated? I don't even think he knows where he put that moral compass. It's behind the couch somewhere when we were banging babysitter number 8. Sheenbeard then cried to me about how Whiff had taken on a job at a gentleman's club, and she boinked hundreds of guys over there for money. He went on to whine, "Why is it that when she does it, people say she's just trying to survive? But I screw one person that wants a friend with benefits and to help me with my daughter, and I'm a total piece of crap?" Bro, I don't even know why I gotta explain the difference to you. Honestly, I took a deep breath and tried to swallow my outrage at the embodiment of idiocy that I was faced with. While I wasn't supporting Whiff's choice of careers one bit, Sheen had gone out of his way to hurt Whiff by bringing a person that she deeply distrusted into their daughter's life. Not even Sheen could be a moron of such proportions, right? Somebody say right. I breathed in again, and after emptying my lungs, I calmly stated, OP, if your moral compass cannot guide you to not leave your daughter in the hands of your ex's tormentor, no lecture that I can give you will help. I can't play your conscience. Sheen, Whiff was scaring all my babysitters. She stalked him. I need to work. I can't do that without a bait. OP. So, you figured that it would be best to bang someone who already backstabbed her and even actively hates her? You tried to play this too many different ways already. Stop trying to make what you did sound okay. You're either enabling a vindictive woman to hurt the mother of your child, or you're using her to get back at Whiff. Either you're weak and stupid, or you're a cruel a-hole. Your options don't look very heroic. Think about what you're doing and why. And get a babysitter who's of sound mind, for God's sakes. I'm going to sleep. Bye. Oh, how I wish that could have been goodbye forever. That night, I dreamt of slapping Sheenbeard across his stupid, grease-covered face. Maybe if I did it hard enough and somehow got famous, then he could live out his Hollywood dream as a Walk of Fame handprint plate. The weirdest part to me is he just expects all that to fall into his lap. Has he ever taken an acting job, or he's just like, somebody will find me someday? It's not how it works. You gotta chase, son. Not that I really believe in your talent, but you seem to, so get out there and try. On to the next moronic thing. I mentioned at the end of part 3 of the saga that Sheen was not great with financial decision making. Oh boy, did that only escalate after Whiff had left him. One morning I woke up to see a flood of messages on my computer. Sheen had gone ahead and bought his 2-year-old daughter 2 pairs of diamond earrings and a diamond-encrusted necklace. Brand products. Naturally, normal earrings and necklaces would be far too large for little Peach, so Sheen got her what I last night estimated to have been like $600 to $800 worth of baby-sized bling. So ludicrous, dude. You know how they say you shouldn't spend too much money on brand new clothes for your babies because they outgrow them so fast? Well, yeah, jewelry like this is really no different. Peach would outgrow all of this jewelry within a couple of years. I knew that Sheen was struggling with money, so I asked him about it once again. You can't fix him, OP. Pry his jaws open, dump as much truth as you want in there. It just doesn't stick. Goes right through him. OP says, what were you thinking, Sheen? I didn't have a lot of luxury as a kid, and I want my child to have everything. Well, how about you save it for college or something like that? What am I gonna do with a baby toe ring? I pinched the bridge of my nose and fought back a headache that threatened to take over. OP, I understand you want the best for your daughter, but Sheen, your baby girl won't appreciate diamond earrings any more than she would a pair of plastic clip earrings. Diamonds for babies? It's like pearls for pigs. Seriously, you're short on money. She has actual needs. Clothes, shelter, and this little thing called food. See to it that the basic necessities are met, Sheen. Save your money and buy her fancy stuff when she's 16 or something. She'll appreciate it far more then. She can't even enjoy this jewelry that you bought when she's older. Please return those things and make sure that she is fed and clothed and safe. Best advice. I mean, OP said I can't play your conscience, but here you are. Just one more time. Last time for reals this time. Sheen mumbled and complained at me for an hour, but ultimately agreed to return one pair of the earrings and the necklace. Okay, a small win for sensibility. He sent me pictures from the jewelers when he said goodbye to his beloved baby bling, accompanied by a squadron of crying emojis. I'm not opposed to spoiling your baby with something special now and again, but that only works if you have the extra money to splurge, guys. And even then, kids don't appreciate it. My son, he got so many toys. You know what his favorite toy is? This stretchy plastic tube that we found on the ground. He wants to play with a piece of trash. Needless to say, Sheenbeard definitely did not have money for this type of things. He had just managed to get a roof back over his head, for God's sake. Concerned by Sheenbeard's irresponsibility, I opted to alter my Christmas present plans. I managed to find a good selection of small children's clothes for a nice discount, and I bought a few dresses of different sizes for Peach. Simple, easy to wash dresses that could be worn for playing outside or for sleeping alike. As a poor student, I couldn't afford much, but at least the girl would have some clothing in which she could be an actual toddler, and not some Fantasyland doll sitting on a shelf. What do you want to bet he complains about the presents at some point? After making my purchases and addressing them straight to Sheenbeard's P.O. box, I leaned back in my chair and sighed heavily. I was exhausted. The first snow had fallen a couple of weeks prior, and I knew I'd have to lecture Sheen on many, many more things before the last of it would melt for the summer. Would my brain melt alongside the snow? I hoped not, but the aching behind my eyes suggested otherwise. I can't say it enough. Too beautifully written. I couldn't do this on the daily. I was thousands of kilometers away from Sheen and Peach and barely a young adult myself. I could not parent both of them. Heck, I couldn't and shouldn't parent either one of them. But the truth is, I couldn't leave a little girl alone with an irresponsible mother and a complete imbecile for a father. Sheen would hopefully grow into this role somehow, but for now I would help. You're too good to him, OP. He doesn't deserve a friend like you, I'll say that much. So thank you all for joining me on this part. I know I promised you some rapper career shenanigans, TM. Shenanigans! Why didn't I think of that? Props to my friend for coming up with that one. That's big brain. This part is getting awfully long though, so I think I'll leave the rapper thing in for the next one. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. Let's all do our best in our day today. Signed, Mother of Rain. Man, you lured me in with the rapper thing. The next one's not even posted yet, so I don't have the option of going to chase it down, but you can look forward to it in the next video. I'm still of the mind that Sheen is an absolute mess. You might spin the earrings and the necklace as like, oh, he really cares for his daughter. But personally, I think he only bought those things because they're a reflection on him, right? Yeah, I bought baby bling. Look at me balling out. Like, bro, you not? Please stop. Buy the kid some diapers or something, for God's sake. I don't know, man. There's a lot to unpack, but we'll keep the trash fire rolling sooner rather than later. I hope you've enjoyed it, friends. If you did, like, comment, sub, do all those things. I appreciate you. Check out the links in the description. Many social medias, TikTok, Twitter, etc., Discord, whatever. Thank you so much to my Patreon patrons, my wonderful YouTube channel members. You guys really helping me out. A new month has begun. I have a sea shanty prepared for you guys this weekend, written by our very own illustrious Fire Drake, and it's not too late to get in on that if you sign up on the Patreon or member up. I don't know. It's your choice. Whatever you want to do. Join us again tomorrow, friends. We're going to do something similar. In order to do so, keep yourself safe, wash your hands, but of course, most importantly, always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one, and until then, friends, Bye-bye.